guess the dairy industry is in a state of anticipation. We're counting down the days to the abolition of quota in April 2015. So farmers now are thinking about how they plan for that situation. And a lot of farmers, and ones we would be particularly concerned about in Teagasc, are farmers that are contemplating expansion of their herds and their milk production. And we're saying to them, yes, there are tremendous opportunities, but the first thing that farmers need to get right is their existing operations in terms of efficiency levels. That it's a very risky business expanding at the best of times. We've seen the volatility in milk prices to start with. Jim Wolfe yesterday at our conference down in Limerick showed, the milk price in dairy Gold fluctuated from about 22 cent up to nearly 38 cent on average this year. So that's an enormous range, and farmers have to be conscious of that. Secondly, of course, in the last couple of years, up until the break we got this summer, the weather has been a huge contributor to additional costs in dairy farmers. So what we're saying to farmers is, you've got to plan very carefully if you're going to expand. Particularly, you've got to look at your cash flow. If you're, as most of them would have to, engage in significant borrowing, the last thing you want to find yourself in is shortage of cash flow in a year, when a year becomes difficult. So that's the first message. We're saying though that within the farm, as always, there are huge opportunities. The one thing that Teagasc has pointed out year in, year out, is there is a big difference in the efficiency, say, of the top third of farmers versus the bottom third. And if that gap can be bridged, it'll be a higher income for the farm families concerned, and that's a lot less riskier than expanding. Now, we're also looking at the conference today, of course, at the newer technologies that are coming on stream that will help efficiency on farms. There's a lot of excitement at both conferences now about the prospect for the introduction of sex semen. And that, not alone will that be important for the dairy industry, but it'll be important for the beef industry as well, because farmers can plan in a much more calculated way the share of heifers and bulls that they will want in their herds for the future. And Teagasc, along with our partners in ICBF, we conducted a very important trial last year, which showed, and a bit to our surprise, that in fact this technology was capable of delivering significant gains in terms of fertility relative to conventional semen, and these results are quite robust, and we think the technology is now viable not only from a technical point of view but also from a cost point of view. Of course, we continue to look in Teagasc at other technologies that will boost profitability, particularly grassland management. I think one of the figures that jumps out from the conference to me is the fact that for every additional tonne of dry matter that a farmer uses per hectare, it's worth about €160 to that farmer. So if you think of it on a 50-hectare farm, that's an additional income of €8,000. Or put it another way, if a farmer doesn't do that, he's losing on a 50-hectare farm €8,000. So that message, I think we have a responsibility, our advisors, our researchers, to get that message across to farmers. I think we're reasonably well prepared in terms of the investment that's gone on, not only on farms, but if you look at the investment that processors are putting in place, huge investments by all the main processors that need to make investment to put in place additional capacity. I would like to see more investment in terms of the innovation capability of processors, because I think while the traditional products will find new markets, there will still have to be innovation, and that's something that Teagasc again is trying to improve. We're trying to improve our capability in that regard, and we're trying to form alliances with all of the major co-ops and indeed the Irish Dairy Board. So I think we're as well prepared as you possibly can be, but I think really until we pass that date when quotas will be abolished, will we see whether in fact the forecasts of the 50% expansion will be realised. I'd be confident in dairy that we will. As far as the other sectors are concerned, the targets have been relatively modest, and we've already bypassed them in terms of beef, for example. So really, I think an awful lot is going to hinge on what happens in dairy.